Hello. I've always been a huge WWE fan. Not so much now. I was during the Attitude Era. I was pretty much up until like 2011, 2012. Stopped watching then. I'm a huge UFC fan as well. I've watched a bit of TNA. I kind of went off TNA when Hogan and Bischoff went there, and it kind of felt like WCW Poor Man version 2. Um, the only bit that I liked was like when the ECW originals come in, but then it was like the instead because he couldn't say ECW because obviously WWE owns the rights. It was like the something violent thing. I thought, fuck, that's a bit shit. Um, I've got the network only so I can watch like the Attitude Era pay-per-views and things like that. Because I'll be honest with you, the pay-per-views to put on now I can't be asked watching. If Brock Lesnar's on, because I followed him in UFC, I'll watch the pay-per-view then. But if it's just like John Cena winning the fucking championship for the 19th time, or fucking Superman Roman Reigns doing whatever. I mean, the Royal Rumble, besides the Brock Lesnar match, was an absolute fucking disgrace. There's a way to book and push someone to make people believe it. You have to give him the problem with like the difference between UFC. Like UFC is real, everyone knows it is, and that's why I like it. But I've always liked WWE. Not so much lately because it's like if Mickey Mouse did WWE. They're trying to make a program about fighting, Men in Tight soap opera for kids, a PG audience, and the likes of me, which are hardcore fans, which used to be avid ECW viewers, um, avid UFC, Bellator, anything MMA related, boxing. It doesn't wash, especially with the Superman Cena attitude and Roman Reigns with his Superman punch. Don't get me wrong, I like Roman Reigns. I think he's got a cool look to him. I mean, I'm a fan of tattoos and everything, and I kind of like him, but I'm not a big fan of the way he's been pushed to the forefront, which is usually a case of when Vince McMahon gets a hard on for a performer. I've always secretly thought that Vince McMahon was fucking gay, the way he pushes the big muscly men, and he gets a real hard on for him. The difference is these days, it's like with Triple H's podcast with Steve Austin, the day of five has gone. Everyone knows it's all the work. Everyone knows it's scripted. It's not the same because everyone knows when someone's getting a push because of the internet, the dirt sheets, what they call the internet wrestling community, which is basically what they call marks. I wouldn't call them marks. I'd probably say the majority of them just want a decent wrestling show to watch, but they're not getting it. WWE is basically it's Disney. There was hopes for TNA at first when it first started. I mean, I remember early TNA. I'm sorry, when it first come out, it was like paired with the NWO and NWA and pay-per-views. I'm sorry, and you used to like get a pay-per-view every month or every week, I think it was, for a couple of dollars, but we'd have to wait over it and find them with some other thing and watch them. And the days of the Asylum and everything, that was good when TNA was like that. But then when Dixie Carter came in, and then they started trying to peel back and be like WWE. Well, I hate to say it because TNA fans are probably in it, but it's like a poor man's WWE, especially when Bischoff and Hogan went. I mean, fair enough, I could see why they signed Hogan because they think that, like in the 80s and 90s, if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, it wouldn't be wrestling now. But times have changed. The only creative input Hogan and Bischoff had when they went in there was they thought it was WCW again. The problem with is WCW had an endless budget. They had a limitless budget, and TNA haven't. So when they were signing ex-WWE stars and things like that, the money for that had to come from different departments of the company, and that's like where your PR comes from and everything. It was like diverted, and it died on its ass. I mean, it was horrible. I actually stopped watching it the minute. I think it was. I can't remember the pay-per-view now. It's where Bully Ray turned and everything. Oh no, it wasn't. It was before that with Hogan and the Immortals and everything. I thought, oh fuck this. It's like a poor man's WCW. Anyway, what I'm saying, at the minute, I'm pretty excited to see CM Punk in UFC. I don't actually how he's going to fare in that. Oops, stuck my junk everywhere. Because it's, I know CM Punk's got a background of mixed martial arts and everything, but UFC is a hard game. And Punk's a little bit older than me, so that he's not exactly a young man anymore. If he gets injured, he's not going to bounce back as quick. And fair play to him though for giving it a go. Back to my original point, WWE. All this thing about Chyna in the Hall of Fame is basically double standards. Triple H, and he doesn't want his kid to go and Google Chyna. Well, if you're going to use those moral points, Hulk Hogan. Go and Google Hulk Hogan. Couple of points. One, he's got a sex video which I haven't seen, and I don't need that burnt into my head, but I know it's out there. Oh God, he wants to see Hulk Hogan having sex. Oh man, so you scream brother at the fucking climax. Oh brother, no. What are you gonna do when Hulk Hogan comes wild over you? Oh God, no, that's something you don't need to see. Also, there's a few disparaging things about Hogan online about the way that, if anyone remembers, the accident his son had, where the other passenger was basically left as a vegetable, and Hogan said it was something to do with karma. Really? So it's alright if your kids go and Google someone like this who's saying that someone's injury caused by your reckless driving, your son's reckless driving deserves it because of karma. You're alright, sweetheart. And then you go to the likes of Scott Hall. I'm Scott Hall's biggest fan, but we all know he's an ex-drug addict, ex-alcoholic, and he's actually killed a man. So that's a social standing that's alright to be associated with the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, if you're going to put Scott Hall in there, I know what Chris Benoit was done was worse, but it's still murder. But yet you allow one man to go in and one man not to. Back to Chyna. In regards to what Google bring up, well then, X-Pac, who you've had at the Hall of Fame a couple of times, who's a member of the NWO and the Click and everything, he's got a sex video. So I had to be associated with him though. And if we're going further and further down the line, you have Abdullah Butcher, who, if you go on Google and put his name in, everything comes up. He's a well-known person that infected half of the 80s generation of wrestling and so on with hepatitis C. Obviously, another sweetheart that you're happy to be associated with. There's a few more points you could put out there. There is a lot, because I was watching Vince Russo's video on the other day, and if you're going to go on that moral standpoint, there's a shitload you could put out there. But again, it's Vince Kennedy McMahon. The whole tragedy of Chyna was that she lost her career and basically her lifestyle, because at the time she was doinking Triple H or Paul Levesque, or I like to call him Triple. I've been sucking Vince and Stephanie's dick for so long to get where I am. The minute you had an affair with Stephanie McMahon, they went that way. Stephanie McMahon made it a fucking thing in life to get Chyna out of the picture. Henceforth, her career suffered. She was indeed sacked, basically blackmailed and bad named throughout the business. And the only avenue left towards for her, because she couldn't go out and book under Chyna because her name was trademarked by WWE, obviously she struggled for work. So it's well known she had a dabble with drugs, and she did some adult films, which I've got no problem with that. I don't think that should affect anything. That is just a career choice. It's the same as like Hulk Hogan's got a sex film, Sean Waltman's got a sex film. There's a few others that have got sex films out there, but yet they're still, and they're associated with worse, and yet they're still in the Hall of Fame. But being Chyna, I really feel sorry for this woman, because I actually remember watching her during the Attitude Era and everything. And I remember the sting that all come out when she was let go, and we all knew what it was for, because a relationship with Triple H comes to an end because he'd been shagging Stephanie McMahon behind his back, and she wanted her well out of the way. And it just shows you the type, for a program that wants to be oriented towards families and everything, behind the scenes, their morals and things are a bit jaded, and they pretty much ruined this woman's life. She couldn't get bookings out of anywhere because she couldn't use the name Chyna, and she took the avenue of doing a couple of porn films. So what? If you go on Google, you can skip that. There's a lot more. There's a lot worse that comes up when you go on Google other WWE superstars, which is associated with the Hall of Fame. So that remark by Triple H is redundant, and it just shows that he's just grasping at straws not to let her in there. him himself is just an arsehole. Triple H isn't the best performer, and if it wasn't for the fact that he'd been sucking Vince McMahon's dick for so many years, he wouldn't be where he is today. He's subpar performer in the ring, way past his prime now. If you go on any forum or whatever, like on ratings as well, when his appearances are on TV, ratings dip, and people are just not asked. They don't want to see him on TV. He's got the likability of he's got the personality of an exploded fucking landmine. I actually sat there and watched his podcast with Steve Austin, and I was falling asleep. I was bored shitless. I've never seen so much self masturbation. It was just an hour of him basically wanking his own ego. And that remark about Chyna in the Hall of Fame, I just thought, you fucking double standard prick. This is one of the reasons why I've started watching WWE instead of UFC now. Besides it being Disney, is the fact that the double standards. The only person that deserves to be in there is Macho Man Randy Savage for certain. But as we all know, for years and years there was a rumour that Macho Man slipped his length to Stephanie McMahon when she was younger, apparently underage, and yet he's going in this year. And again, double standards. Yep, but Chyna's the one that gets the butt of everything. The last time I heard, I know she's done a podcast with Vince Russo, but she was a teacher in, I think it was Japan or somewhere. So fair play to her, she's gone out and done that because her career in the US was fucked by people like in the WWE. My whole point is, it is full of double standards. Booking agents behind the scene, people like Michael Hayes have still got to work, still got a job. He was well known for getting a certain diva drunk so she'd suck his dick, and yet he's still employed and he's one of the right hand men. This double standards again. But as I said, the current product I give a miss, and if you had any brains, you'd do the same thing because at the minute it's fucking shite.